Let's take a quick look at what we've covered in this chapter. First of all, we went over template file overrides and when we would want to use those. There are typically two ways to override output, and we covered both of them, template files and theming functions, and we took a look at when template file overrides are going to be the most appropriate method. Next, we looked each at the page, node, block, and comment templates and how to override those. We also took a deep look into their structure and when we would want to override something within each of those templates. We looked at how to name and use preprocessing functions in order to provide logic behind our template files or theming functions. And then we looked at how to add preprocessing conditionally, because preprocessing functions are aligned with a specific theme function or template file. Sometimes we want to be more specific, for example, add certain preprocessing for a particular content type for a node template. And so we looked at several different ways to approach this within our preprocessing function in order to execute code simply certain times and not others. We looked at how template file suggestions work in order to provide a set of potential template file names that can be used in the theming layer, and we looked at how to add new ones. And we learned by looking at this that suggestion simply means that we're giving the option to have a particular template file name in our theme directory in order to use it, but that doesn't necessarily need to be there. And if that template file isn't there, then it will cascade up a list of potential template file names, which is why they're called suggestions, until it finds one that actually does exist. From here, there's a couple of things you can do to further your knowledge about template files and theming functions. First of all, you can take a look at the template files that we overrode in the previous examples for inspiration, and then override a template file that we didn't in those 4 steps. So we looked at comments, blocks, nodes, and page templates. Go ahead and take a look at one that we didn't cover and override it. Next, do the same thing with the theming function. We looked at several theming functions that we can override, but in this case, find one that we didn't cover, and go ahead and work through the theming function, finding out how it structures the HTML, and then override that in your template.php file. Finally, you can override some output generated by a contributed module. In this set of videos, we looked at Drupal core exclusively, but in a practical sense, you're probably going to be overriding output generated by contributed modules more often. So take what you've learned in this chapter and try to apply it to output that's generated through one of the popular contributed modules that you may be using in your site. And when you're ready, go ahead and move on to the next videos.